So I was talking with my sister the other day, and she's a really passionate feminist. She hit me with a great question. She said, why do so many religions worship a male god? Why is the ultimate power always framed as masculine? And it's a fantastic question, one a lot of us are asking. It actually sent me digging back into the source material for this tradition to put together an explainer on a theology that, well, it might just flip that whole question right on its head. Okay, let's get into it.
So let's start right there with that big question. Is God male or female? It feels like such a modern concern, right? This whole idea of gender and spirituality. But what if the very foundation of this philosophy suggests that maybe we're asking the wrong question? Or at least, maybe we're starting in the wrong place? See, according to Vedic philosophy, the whole basis for spiritual equality for everyone starts right here, with the Atma, the soul. The idea is that our true self, our core identity, is totally eternal and unchangeable. It's completely separate from this temporary body that we're in, and that includes all the labels that come with the body, like gender. So from this point of view, the real you is neither male nor female.
Now this brings us to a really pivotal verse from the Bhagavad Gita. And I'll be honest, the full verse can sound a bit controversial to our modern ears because it seems to group women with other socially disadvantaged classes of that time. But the key theological point here, the absolute bombshell, is the conclusion. Anyone who takes shelter can reach the supreme destination. Let's break down why this was so revolutionary.
When you look closer at the commentary, the real meaning just shines through. That term for lower birth, papayanaha, it didn't actually mean morally sinful. It was referring to societal disadvantages, things like having limited access to a formal Vedic education. And that makes Krishna's statement here incredibly radical for its time. He's saying the only qualification that matters is vyapashritya, taking shelter in the divine. That one single act makes all your social and biological labels completely irrelevant, explicitly naming women as eligible for the absolute highest spiritual perfection. So here's the crucial takeaway. This path of devotion, or bhakti, is presented as this great equalizer. It's a spiritual path that's open to absolutely anyone, where the sincerity in your heart completely outweighs your social status or the body you happen to be born into. It's a pretty radical statement of spiritual democracy, really.
Okay, so we've established spiritual equality for the individual soul. That's huge. But the theology goes much, much deeper than that, shifting from us to the actual nature of the Godhead itself. And in this view, God isn't seen as some solitary male figure at all. Instead, God is presented as a divine couple.
This relationship is described as Shakti and Shaktiman. Shakti is the divine energy, the power of God, and is always considered feminine. Shaktiman is the energetic source, the one who possesses that power, and he is masculine. But here's the key. They are completely, totally inseparable. Just think about it for a second. The energetic source is pretty meaningless without its energy, right? And the energy can't exist without its source. They're two sides of the exact same divine reality. And wow, this verse from the Chaitanya Charitamrita just illustrates it so perfectly. The analogy is brilliant. Can you really separate the scent from musk or the heat from a fire? No way. It's impossible. They are one and the same, yet we can talk about them as two distinct things. This is a concept called inconceivable oneness and difference.
So this just begs the question, right? If there is this supreme energetic source, Krishna, then who is the original supreme feminine energy? Who is the original Shakti?
Her name is Srimati Radharani. She is described as the original supreme feminine energy, the internal pleasure potency of Lord Krishna himself.
And this is where the theology gets really counterintuitive and beautiful. In this divine dynamic, the feminine aspect, Radharani, actually holds the position of preeminence. I mean, Krishna is considered the all-attractive one, the one who enchants the entire universe. But Radharani's love is so powerful, so incredibly pure, that she enchants even him.
This is perfectly captured in one of her names, Madana Mohana Mohini. I know, it's a mouthful, but the meaning is just stunning. Krishna is known as Madana Mohana, he who can attract Madana, or Cupid himself. But Radharani is Madana Mohana Mohini, the one who attracts the attractor of Cupid. Her spiritual power, which is the power of pure love, is considered supreme. And this gets us right back to my sister's question from the beginning. The most famous mantra in this entire tradition, Hare Krishna, is actually a prayer to the feminine first. The word Hare is the calling out form of Hara, which is another name for Radharani, the divine energy. So when someone chants Hare Krishna, what they're really saying is, O Hara,
O Radharani, O Krishna. It's a call to be engaged in their divine loving service by appealing first to the Supreme Feminine.
Now, you might be thinking, this is all really fascinating, high-level, abstract philosophy. But it's not. This principle of feminine spiritual power is embodied in the lives of these incredible women throughout the scriptures. They serve as amazing models of strength and devotion. Let's just look at a few of them. First up, Queen Kunti. I mean, her life reads like a non-stop tragedy. She faced poison, attempts on her life, being exiled, a devastating war, and yet, through all of that, her faith never, ever wavered. In fact, she saw her suffering as a way to get even closer to the divine. She even addressed God with this beautiful name, Akinshana Gochara, which means the treasure of those who have nothing else left to hold on to.
And that leads to her prayer, which is one of the most powerful and honestly mind-bending prayers in all of literature. She literally asks for the calamities to come back, because it was in those moments of total desperation that she felt the Lord's presence and protection the most. Now that is spiritual resilience.
Then you have Mother Sita, the wife of Lord Rama. Her story is one of unbelievable integrity through the most intense hardship. Now, I know, from a modern perspective, this idea of a husband as a deity can be challenging. But in this theological context, her devotion isn't really about subservience to a man. It's about her unwavering commitment to a sacred principle, to Dharma, that Rama embodied. Even when he unjustly exiled her, her steadfast character and inner purity acted like a spiritual shield, protecting her from ever falling into despair.
And finally, let's talk about Draupadi. She was anything but passive. She was fiercely intelligent, a total voice for justice. And in her darkest hour, when she was facing public humiliation and all 5 of her powerful husbands couldn't protect her, she did something radical. She just let go of all worldly hope and completely surrendered, calling out to the divine for protection. And that protection came. Her life really teaches that true royalty isn't about a crown or a palace, it's about your unshakable character.
So as we can see from these women, from this theology, it becomes really clear that the concept of ultimate spiritual power in this tradition has nothing to do with control or dominance or which gender is supposedly superior. It's about something else entirely.
This quote from the great teacher Bhaktivinoda Thakur just sums it all up perfectly. The masculine and feminine aspects of the divine are inseparable. One is incomplete. You can't even conceive of one without the other. To worship one is to worship them both. Which leaves us with a final thought, one that brings us right back to where we started. What if we've been framing this debate all wrong? What if the ultimate spiritual power, the quality that can captivate even God, isn't about being male or female at all, but about the capacity for pure, selfless, unconditional love? A quality that, by the way, resides within every single soul.